Mexico. I'm incredibly insulted by the remarks.
I was waiting for this.
Of course you were.
Good.
But, hey, I'm a friend of Freedom Fest. I believe in freedom. I believe in the rule of law. Good. I believe in property rights. My heart goes out to Mr. Jamil.
Good.
There are illegal immigrants that are horrible and terrible. There are also legal immigrants that are horrible and terrible.
It's true.
So it's a question about rule of law. I am going to ask a question.
Ask a question, please.
All right, that was part of the fun and games. Over the weekend, Donald Trump played to a huge crowd, two huge crowds in Las Vegas, which was part of a function, and Arizona, where they had to move to a bigger venue. Joining us on the Malzberg panel, Larry Elder, radio host of The Larry Elder Show, author of Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours, and you can check him out at LarryElder.com. And David Goodfriend, Democratic strategist, former Deputy Staff Secretary to President Clinton, DavidGoodfriend.com. All right, gentlemen, Donald Trump, there's a HuffPo poll out today, and like others before it, shows Donald Trump, David, at the top with over 17%, with a lead over Jeb Bush and then the others. What's your take?
Well, look, the conventional wisdom is that Trump will never be the nominee. I would never say never. And I certainly think that he is doing people like me, us Democrats, a huge favor, because he offers a very compelling contrast between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. He is appealing to people's fears and some people's prejudices. We appeal to a much broader segment of society, and we're forward-looking, we're positive, we're all about growth. I think he's a great person to have in the race, and I love him, and I hope he stays in a long, long, long time.
Larry, when he brought those parents of people, their children killed by illegal aliens, I think that was brilliant, and I think he struck a chord. And if only the Republicans, that's right out of the Democratic playbook, by the way, and if more Republicans would do that more often, I think they'd be in a better shape.
I think you're right. The thing about Trump is he's got guts. He's not afraid of being called a bigot. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of frustration on the Republican side about being run over. If you want the border secured, you're a bigot. If you complain about lack of economic growth, you're unfairly taking a shot at Obama because he's a black president. And people are sick of it. And I've interviewed Mr. Shaw before, and he's in a great deal of pain because of illegal immigration. And for Donald Trump to bring that issue, make it have headlines now, this is a good thing for the country, a good thing for the party. And I think ultimately he's going to help Republicans, not hurt Republicans, because they're going to have to talk about an issue and grow some cashews. That's what they need to do, grow some cashews. People are tired of being walked over, run over, and pushed around and being called bigots.
Absolutely. And David, you know, there are conspiracy theories that say Donald Trump contributed lots of money to Hillary over the years, more money to Democrats, and that somehow he's helping her get elected.
Well, I stand by what I said earlier. I definitely think Donald Trump helps the Democratic Party. There's no question in my mind about it. I don't think he's a tool of the Democratic Party. I think he's a tool of Donald Trump. His ego knows no bounds. Now, this much I will say. There is a dotted line to be drawn between Donald Trump and Scott Walker. I see these as two conservatives who are essentially using the same playbook. Let's play on people's resentment and blame somebody else. It's not your fault. It's the immigrants' fault.
Yeah, well, Larry, the problem with what David is saying is that he's been elected 3 times in a Democratic state.
Well, it's what Democrats always do.
Wait, let him talk. Let Larry talk.
It's what Democrats always do. They can't win on the merits. And the merits are that this economy has been the worst recovery arguably ever, certainly since the Great Depression. And we're not talking about it. We're talking about Donald Trump and Donald Trump's hair and what Donald Trump said about immigration. And people have had it. The middle class is not back. And don't get me started on what Obama has done to black economy. Poverty up. The gap between whites and blacks, 25-year high.
And Larry, Larry and David, we're coming back. But you know what? I'd like to know how many blacks and Hispanics Trump employs compared to Hillary. We're coming back.
The party has moved way far to the left. And that's not my Democratic Party, but in and of itself. We need to bring working people back into the formula.
And what Hillary did today in giving her economic speech was move even further to the left. She sounded like Bernie Sanders standing up there. Rejoining the panel, Larry Elder and David Goodfriend. Larry, Jim Webb, who's got his hat in the ring on the Democrat side, is so right. I mean, JFK would look at this party and say, where's the Democratic Party?
Well, that's right, except that the Democratic Party has shifted to the left. That's the center of their party. That is the base of their party. Jim Webb has nowhere to go. Hillary Clinton wants to give free education for this. She wants to spend money for that. She has an even more liberal record in the Senate than Barack Obama, and that's where that party is. That is the center of that party.
It's true, David. You've gone way off a cliff as a party.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I don't think my views have changed all that much. But in my lifetime, I've witnessed the Republican Party get more and more conservative. So by default, I then become more and more of a leftist relative to where the Republican Party is. You don't have to take my word for it. I mean, this is a pretty well-regarded fact. And you look at the
give me an example of where the
Larry wants an example, David.
Give me an example.
Here's an example.
Please.
On the issue of labor, President Eisenhower once said, and Ronald Reagan once said, labor unions serve a purpose. Reagan was the only labor union president to become president of the United States. Ronald Reagan. Today, you have Scott Walker saying we should destroy all labor unions. So I don't
he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that, David. That's not his position at all.
It is actually.
You're being unfair.
Go ahead, Larry.
You're being unfair. I asked you to give me an example, and you come up with an example that's not even a legitimate one. He's never said he wants to destroy all unions. Give me an example of how the Republican Party is more conservative than it used to be. Please, give me one.
All right, here's another one. On immigration, I'll go back to Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan came up with a whole immigration reform plan that people like you called amnesty. Today, the entire Republican Party is against any form of anything like what Ronald Reagan did. How many more examples do you want? I'll give you
times have changed on immigration, David. Times have changed on immigration, certainly.
So that explains
that's a bad example. That's a bad example too.
Times have changed. Okay.
That's a bad example too, David, because Ronald Reagan was promised two things. He was promised that the borders were going to be secured and that employers who knowingly hired illegal aliens would be tracked down. Neither of which has happened. Ed Meese was there. Ed Meese is pissed off about how he feels Ronald Reagan was duped on that issue. So that's not a good example either.
All right, guys, let's move to
excuses. You're giving excuses.
Let's move to an interview that I did with Lanny Davis on Friday, gentlemen, and here's how it ended when confronted about Hillary saying, I never got a subpoena. Here it is.
She answered a question that was about a moment in time when she had not turned over her emails to the State Department, and there was no subpoena at that moment.
So in other words, Lanny, she's doing, it depends on the meaning of the word is, right, Lanny?
Do you have any other questions, Steve? This interview is over, and this is the last.
All right, goodbye, Lanny. You know, Lanny, I was wondering why you were coming on, because you haven't been anywhere. Yeah, there he goes. Bye. All right, so Lanny got mad because he tried to come up with, they came up with this cockamamie explanation, Larry, that, Hillary was talking about a period in time. When you say, I've never got a subpoena, and you've gotten 3 of them, again, it's either Clinton speak, depending on what the meaning of the word is, or you're a bald-faced liar. And you know what? The public is sick of it no matter which one it was.
Donald Trump talks about immigration, doesn't use the kind of phrasing that might be precise, and they're all over him. Hillary Clinton says flat out, I never got a subpoena, and well, what she meant was that she never got one at the time. Well, what she meant was always giving them an excuse, but Republicans have to be held right to the letter of the law. And this Ronald Reagan thing, Ronald Reagan lowered taxes to 28%. I don't know any Republican who wants to put taxes that low again. And he's arguing, David is, that the Republican Party has gotten more conservative.
All right, I don't want to go back there again.
More liberal.
I don't want to go back more liberal. David, you're a Democratic strategist and you worked for Clinton.
Yeah.
Did the strategist sit down with Hillary before this interview and say, here's how we're going to lie? Or does she just lie by nature?
I don't think she's lying, and I don't think anybody told her to lie. And I don't think that, look, Lanny, I've talked to Lanny about this very issue, and let me try on my best to give you a kind of level-headed answer to this, okay? I think what happened is that there was a subpoena, and it's not what Hillary Clinton was talking about when she said, I turn over documents to the State Department.
She said, I never got a subpoena.
So here's the point again. She turns over documents to the State Department. The committee, which I believe we're talking about here, is the subpoena from the committee that was set up to investigate
things. There are 3 subpoenas, David. Three subpoenas. She got a subpoena. 3 subpoenas. She said she never got it. Sounds like a dishonest statement, not only to me, but as I played last week, all the leftists in the media. that, on all the shows, they're all saying she has a trouble with the truth. Bernstein said she fudges the truth by nature. All right, guys, gotta go. Larry Elder, David Goodfriend. We're coming back with Jennifer Rubin of the Washington Post. Don't go away.